Hi everyone, my name's Donkey and today we are once again back on the RTS project. So, if you remember in the last video we had a few technical difficulties that it wouldn't run. In that when you, what we tried to do is so that when you place down a block, well it wasn't that, but when you place down a house even, you'd move towards it to place it down. We've obviously got some kind of error here, but it looks a little bit like this. I'm not sure if this was slightly different, but if this is ever so slightly different, all it is it's just directly copied from here, the global left pressed. Because I was looking at it, I was thinking, what is different between this and what we copied it over into here? And there was one key bit, was the MX and MY. Now, here, they're just directly mouse Y, mouse X, mouse Y. Whereas here, what we'd set them to was adding and subtracting the difference. Now, for the movement, we don't actually need to change that difference because it's simply converting mouse to grid coordinates. It's not actually picking up the tile at all. So, what we're going to do is we're going to make a little gap here. I'm not sure if it necessarily has to be there. I mean, you could put it after, but it's just to make sure the ordering is all correct. And what we're going to copy over is just that there. That's going to go in first, and then this bit here. Yep, that's pretty simple. If we ran this now though, we would have an error because these is MX and this is also MX. So we're going to change this to NMX, standing for new mouse X and new mouse Y. It's getting a bit complicated, but we won't add any more. We're just going to put some N's in front of that to make that all sorted. And now if we run it, we've got lots of variables going on, but effectively the movement now works identical to the movement with the left pressed even. An easy way possibly of thinking about this is thinking this is the movement. That's not the right one. Movement, and that goes to there. This bit up here is the tile placement. That goes to there. That's an easy way of thinking about it. Then you could always say this bit is the actual placing. Yeah, that's kind of it, really. One thing though, and I'll just show you what happens when we do this. It works perfectly fine, so we can press it. We place down 1, it's working fine. Place down 2, it's working fine. Place down 3, it's working fine. As soon as we go down to place the fourth one, of course, this is what we want to happen when we don't have any wood left. We don't want to be able to build houses, but we also don't want to be able to move around using right press. You should have to use left press, otherwise you could try to place down a house and end up mining stone. It's not quite the same thing. So what we're going to do is move this, copy, Control X, and put it inside the actual placing, because this is our check here. This is also a check, so we're going to put it right there, so that it, not like that, so that it moves before we've placed down the actual tile here, but it goes after we've done all the checks. Now what this will look like is pretty much identical for the first few times, so 1, 2, 3, identical, but then when we try and put the fourth time, it won't let us place another house and it won't let us move to it either. We have to use the left pressed. You should be able to hear the difference that I'm clicking there. So that's something that is quite handy. And that's kind of the house tiles now polished off, almost completely done. Now, actually, we can put another thing in there to make it a little bit more fancy. So we can add a time takes to build it. Now, this again is going to be pretty similar to other bits of code. So it's going to be the same as object basic unit. This fella here, we can get rid of overlay, we don't need that anymore. We can just put these pretty close by each other. So the code we're looking for is actually right down the bottom, and yes, this big fat code here. This is the placement of the blocks, and it looks quite big and scary, but realistically it's just loads of little bits of code that we did before. And what we're going to do, I'm actually looking at that and thinking a lot of that isn't necessary, so we might just leave that for the time being. In fact, the bit we will take though is from the draw event. So we already have a draw event here. I'm going to make another one, another section within the draw event. Yeah, don't think we can make another bit. And this is simply going to be this here. Only problem is we're going to add another if. So we're going to say if house, and just, yep, we're going to make it true or false variable. And house referring to, are we building a house? So if we are building a house, we're going to make this rectangle appear. Pretty much. That's it. We're going to also increment the count. Count plus plus. If count equals room speed times 2, so if we've reached the maximum, then we're going to set count back to 0. Okay, so let me just talk you through this. If we are building a house, we're going to draw the outer rectangle first. We're then going to increment the count every step that we're building it. If the count is equal to, actually, yeah, we'll copy this and Control X. But anyway, if the count is not 0, then the multiplier is this, and this basically creates a bar that's filling up. Now, if you keep what we've copied and put it here, just at the start, this is going to be another check. So we're going to copy all this and Control X, and then Control V into there. Tab everything along, not like that. Now what we're doing is we're checking the wood, the same as normal. We're checking if it's already a tile, but then we're checking if we've reached the building, if we've reached the zone, the time to build. Then we're moving, hang on, we're going to move that outside. We want to move before then, so we're going to whack that there. And at that point, house equals true. Then at the end, we're going to set house to equal false. So let's just talk through what's going on. We've got the same checks as before. Then we're starting to draw our rectangle, indicating how long we've got to build that house. Then we're moving. I guess theoretically we should move first and then start building the house. But anyway, then we're waiting until the count is hit room speed times 2, which is I think 2 seconds. Then what we're doing is changing the house, minusing from the wood, adding to the population, setting the count back to 0, and then stop drawing the bar. So let's give this a go. Oh yeah, we need to also set house in the very start. So obviously we're going to start off with false, so that's in the control, the create event even of the controller. So now if we give this a run, we should not error. Yeah, but yep, count isn't set either, so we're going to set count equal to 0, and in fact we're going to group these together. Handy little trick there. If you group variables together that are similar, it makes it easier in the long run. So if we go down to place a house, we've got the bar going up, we've also got a random bar here. Okay. Right, that is a problem. Let's show debug message count. And just check what's going on there, because that's interesting. It's going up, it's going up. Did it skip over? Don't think it did. So it should set it back. But let's make sure that, let's say if count is bigger or equal to room speed. Now give it a go. Still no, it's going up quite a lot there. Not entirely sure why that's doing it. I think it might be that it's the if statement, possibly. Let's try Control X, move this outside, put it down there, because it doesn't actually have to be within there, because as soon as we start the house going, it'll keep adding to the count anyway, and this stuff will always be the same anyway for that. So nope, it's still is going up infinitely. Yep, just quickly let's change this to room speed times 2 and see what it should be going to, just to make sure that isn't the problem. It should be going to 60, and it's definitely not going to 60. It's going quite a lot higher than 60. So yeah, not entirely sure why this isn't coming up. Oh, never mind. We can quickly solve this actually. If you copy this and Control X and make a step event and drag it in there and then save. Basically the problem with this is we put it in the global right pressed. The global right pressed only occurs once, only occurs as soon as you press the right button. We want this to occur every single step to check. So now if we try it, we see the bar's in the corner, which isn't great, but yeah, we've got a different error now. Yeah, it's because it's here instead of there. We can change that by getting rid of these var, and now run it. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah, there we go. It's now working. So the bar's in a funny place, but it is working, and there is some errors when placing it on a wood tile and stuff, but the foundation there is all there. We can figure out all the rest of it next time. It's really simple. But yeah, that was this video. If you liked the video, remember to like, subscribe, or just do you guys want to do, and I'll talk to you in the next one.